Well, this is part 2 of Affordable Coffins. So, my coffin arrived. Tony was home at the time, so he had it placed in the garage so I could work on it. The funny thing is, Amanda and I at the moment are taking up Tony's garage. Amanda's doing panels for the Wainuiomata Youth Theatre, the big back sets. She did them last year as well, so most of the garage is actually covered in that. And now my coffin is there as well, so Tony's got a bit of problems getting through his own garage, which was never my intention because he uses it as a workshop for when he builds things for around the section, so I don't really want to clutter his garage up with my rubbish. But this time, he's the one who put it in there, so he was quite happy for me to work on it. So the first thing I wanted to do is unwrap the coffin, and we put it on some sawhorses so it was easy for me to work on it. So the first thing I did is gave it a good sand down, and now I could actually see inside the coffin how they actually curve the sides. They actually make cuts in the sides so the wood gets curved. So I've made a photo of that and you can see how that is done. Now, to start with, I would have liked to have a trim on the bottom of the coffin because it makes it more finished looking. But knowing that I would have had to bend it, and I decided, I'm not going to go there to do this myself. I'll just put, say, a lace trim on the bottom to make it look a bit different. Same as with I would like to put lace trim on the top. And Tony said, no. He said, let's put some trim on it. I can give you a hand. I was more likely actually to give Tony a hand. He basically did all I was just pushing, things so he could clamp it. So we ended up doing that. We went to Mitre 10 and got some nice trim and spent several evenings doing one side at a time. He also had to cut the inner part so it would bend, otherwise it would just snap. Because even though you look at a coffin, it doesn't seem to be a big curve, but it's curved big enough for a trim or wood not to bend nicely around it. So we ended up doing that, and we got it all clamped. And with a bit of wood bog, we end up bogging the bits of holes that you still could see on the top, but that wasn't a problem. I could do that during the day. Now, when I bought the coffin, I still hadn't really decided what I wanted to do. Was I going to stain it, polyurethane it, or paint it? Now, I had been sort of looking around. I went to Resine and just asked question, what's available. This is what I'm doing. I said, I'm doing a coffin for filming and photography. It didn't blink an eyelid. It seemed to be quite a normal thing to do. So I ended up going with Resine Polythane and then Resine Colour Wood Enhance. Now I've got about 5 different colours. You got Jarrah, red, brown, walnut, black and white. Now I chose the red brown. And when Mike from Carried Away gave me some samples to use, because I told him, I don't know what I'm going to do with them yet. So I said, I'll give you some samples, for samples of wood, and then you can, paint and see what looks good. So I end up doing that, and as you can see, the first coat is quite light and it is quite streaky. The next coat is slightly darker, and the next coat darker again. So each coat you do, it becomes darker and darker. On my coffin, I ended up doing about 4 or 5 coats. Now, since I ended up doing the trim on the coffin, which took a few nights, what I did, I ended up polyurethaning the lid first. And when I'd done that, I sort of stood back, and actually it gives a wood grain. So which is actually quite good because it's the wood itself is plain. It's got no grain whatsoever, of course. So when I used this type of stuff, it actually ended up giving it a wood grain, and it actually looked really, really nice. I also ended up undercoating the inside of the coffin, because usually they don't bother doing that, although they do have a plastic sheet in the bottom, because most funeral homes require that, because we've got quite a lot of fluid in our body, and when we die, things start seeping a bit, and the last thing they want is fluid seeping at the bottom of the coffin, so you always have a plastic sheet in there. So which I had bought as well, so I've placed that back in there after I undercoated a whole lot just to seal the wood, because I'm going to be using this for filming and things, so if it gets damp I don't want the wood all starting to warp and things like that. It's quite interesting when you look inside a coffin, which you would usually not do, especially not under the lining. They actually place a piece of wood or a block of wood underneath your head. It's to give you that little bit of rise, because I think the pillows you buy and the mattress you buy actually are very, very thin. I'll be making my own, so you have that little bit of height, but not too much height that your head sticks above the coffin sides, because actually I've noticed that the coffin sides are about 300 mil. So if you're a big person, I think you might have to be squished down a bit. There's actually not a hell of a lot of room. It's a very cosy fit. Well, this is about to end it for this video. The next video we'll be doing the inside of the coffin, which is very exciting, which I'm busy with now. So I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching.